Hey,
Facebook comic
hey.
spot with my Tuesday regular guy, Jeffrey Peterson, the 420 comic. You know, Calichroniccomix with an X. Yeah, that's where you get his merch, 420 merch. He's here. He's talking with me. We're waiting for a diva. Let's talk
Yeah.
about our diva that'll be here pretty soon.
Yeah. I'm super excited. Curt Diesel's been hanging out with me. And that's always a treat because he and I are like a hive mind, man. We both think a lot alike, and we complement each other pretty well with our not only our comedy but just conversation and stuff. So a great guy. As you've noticed, my hair keeps just climbing higher and higher. I don't know what's going on there, but it's happening. But
It's trying to match the arch behind you.
yeah, it's so crazy. But this guy, I'm glad to not only be here today to introduce him, but he's hanging out. So your great interview, we missed out on it. That great interview because technical difficulties. So we had to take this opportunity while we had Curt Diesel. I heard you say, and I mean, you've had over 467. You said Curt Diesel was your favorite, and I know how that can be. He's a very entertaining guest, ladies and gentlemen. This guy's background is so. In addition to comedy, I mean, he's a veteran like you.
Yes.
He served in Panama, and he's also a Silicon Valley guy. And he's very smart, knows all kinds of mathematical stuff. So he keeps me on my toes, and a very analytical person, but funny as hell. When we go out on the road together or we do shows together, this guy can't be stopped. As I've said, I've never seen him not be funny. So he used to be a regular with Eddie Griffin over there at the SLS Casino, which is now the Sahara. And but man, he's performed at Kush Stock with me, with Don Carlos. He was in my Cannabis Comedy Festival. So without further ado, Linda, here he is.
Here he is, you guys. Curt Diesel. Thank you, Jeffrey Peterson. That was an amazing introduction for the Curt Diesel. Hi. Now, how are people going to get to know you behind the mask if you're wearing one?
Nobody knew me until I put on a mask.
Hi.
I just ordered, basically, I'm trying not to get mask shamed. It's happening around the world.
It is.
Every time I take a picture of anywhere, me like in public, and I don't have on like an air filtration system wrapped around my head, the trolls come out. I think that, I don't know if they're Russian robots or what's happening, Chinese robots, but they come in with where's the mask? So this actually right here, I think isn't medically. Somebody just fart. I can smell a fart through this thing. So I don't think that.
Looks like a really good swimming suit bra.
It really, in an age of covering up the face, the man with the green eyes, is really ahead of the curve, if you know what I mean.
I know.
So I'm actually going for like wearing masks because my teeth are still kind of, I need a little work down here, but once I put on the mask, everything is good.
Who do people think you look like?
People think I look like my dad.
Anybody else? Like somebody famous?
Well, unfortunately, my dad was famous. His name was Preacher. He was a guitar player, and he played guitar. So that's why it was one of those things to where even as a kid, I didn't know him, but people would see me and say, "Hey, you look just like Preacher." And my mom was like, "Yeah, that's his dad." He didn't stick around. It was one of those old stories, old Chicago legend stories where he was off picking and grinning, while I was growing up without a dad. So, when people say, "Who do you look like?" I'm like, I'm trying to think of anybody else. I had an ex-girlfriend. She used to tell me that I look like Tom Hanks because I have like a bulbous nose, like a Tom Hanks kind of nose, I guess. And maybe like I have lighter colored eyes. Like, she knew Tom Hanks, and that was the person that she used to always say. And, she banged me, so I didn't care. She could tell me I look like anybody in the world. It's like if people are trying to flatter me, they'll say I look like Chris Brown or, what was the other guy? Oh, one of those guys from the Jersey Shore or whatnot.
Yeah,
but really,
Situation.
the situation. But at the end of the day, probably the one I hear the most in Las Vegas is what's that guy's name? Smokey Robinson.
Wow, that's hot.
Doing it, me. You know, so I spent 10 years of my life, you know, getting ready for a Smokey Robinson. You know, we're gonna, you know, as soon as he passed on, we were gonna come in with a tribute show, you know, and really have. He's still alive.
Yes.
He's like what, 93, 94 years old. He's still kicking. So I'm like, hey, Smokey, man. I said, you know, we're ready with the tribute show, man. He's like, he looked at me, he said, you'll be dead before I will.
Look at you.
No, I'm having a good time because, like Jeff said, I've been at his house in Las Vegas for a couple of days now, and he's the 420 comic, and I'm the CBD comic. But when I come over here, I guess I'm the 420 understudy comic because we're doing a lot more 420 than CBD. If you know it, I don't want you to have to read too far between the lines, but you know, we don't. This ain't a what do they call it? A gimmick. It's the real deal.
So they don't call it Mary Jane anymore?
Yeah, you know, you can really, you know, if you're buying it, like if you walk into the dispensary, those people are so, you know, like trained to shine your shoes and polish your buttocks, you know, that you can pretty much call it whatever you want. You can go in there and say, hey, you know, I want some reefers or I want some Reggie. They're like, okay, come on in, have a seat, sir. We'll take care of you. Well, you know, if you go to the hood and you say, I want some Mary Jane, you'll probably get robbed. I don't know. It's almost like having a map on the dashboard. You know, they're like, oh, man, we got somebody from here, from out of town. Hey, did this thing freeze up?
Did it? Oh, my God. What happened?
I'm still moving. I can still see myself. Hold on.
It must be on her end.
Everybody